Listen carefully. What you are about to hear is not motivation, it is not self-help, and it is definitely not another collection of clever comebacks designed to make weak people feel powerful for a few minutes. This is something far more dangerous, because once you understand what we are about to uncover, you will never look at disrespect the same way again. You will walk into rooms differently, you will sit in silence differently, you will look at people who once intimidated you, mocked you, manipulated you, or tried to break your confidence, and you will see them with a level of clarity that most people never reach in an entire lifetime. This is not entertainment. This is psychological liberation. Most people believe they know how to deal with disrespect. They think strength means reacting, defending themselves, winning arguments, having the perfect response. But what they call strength is often nothing more than emotional slavery wearing a mask, a conditioned reaction, a predictable reflex, a weakness disguised as confidence. And today we are going to dismantle that illusion completely. Because for thousands of years, some of the strongest minds in human history discovered something that modern society still fails to understand. They discovered a level of psychological control so powerful that insults lost their ability to hurt them. Manipulation stopped working, humiliation lost its sting, and the chaos of other people could no longer invade their minds without permission. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, men who lived through betrayal, cruelty, envy, humiliation, political warfare, and human darkness on a scale most people cannot even imagine. Yet they developed a mindset that made them psychologically untouchable, not because life became easier, but because they understood human nature better than everyone around them. Today we are going to uncover those lessons. 10 lessons, each one deeper than the last, each one capable of changing the way you see people forever. But understand this, if you leave halfway through, you may hear enough truth to feel uncomfortable, but not enough truth to transform. So make a decision right now. Stay until the end, because the people who disturb your peace are already controlling more of your mind than you realize. And by the end of this video, that control will be gone. Welcome to Silent Authority. Now let's begin. Lesson 1, the hidden architecture of disrespect. Why insults are almost never about you. Before you can master disrespect, you must first understand what it really is. And this is where most people get everything wrong. Because when someone insults you, ignores you, mocks you, or treats you with contempt, your instinct immediately tells you that the attack is about you, your appearance, your intelligence, your value, your status, your worth. But that assumption is exactly what gives the insult its power. Now imagine ancient Rome. The year is 161 AD. A man has just inherited the most powerful position on earth. He rules over an empire stretching across continents, millions of citizens, countless soldiers, unlimited influence. His name is Marcus Aurelius. Most people assume that power protects you from disrespect, but Marcus knew better. In his private journal, he wrote something extraordinary. At the beginning of each day, he reminded himself that he would encounter arrogant people, ungrateful people, manipulative people, jealous people, deceitful people. Think about that. The most powerful man alive still expected disrespect. Why? Because he understood something that most people never learn. Disrespect is not a verdict, it is a symptom. Just as a fever reveals illness inside the body, disrespect reveals disorder inside the mind. When someone speaks with cruelty, that cruelty tells you more about them than it ever could about you. When someone mocks you unnecessarily, they are revealing their inner condition, not your value, their condition. This is where Epictetus enters the story. Unlike Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus was not born into power, he was born a slave, owned by a cruel master known for his brutality. Ancient accounts tell us that one day his master twisted his leg violently for amusement. As the pressure increased, Epictetus calmly warned him, "If you continue, it will break." The master continued, the bone snapped, and according to the story, Epictetus simply replied, "I told you it would break." No panic, no rage, no emotional collapse. Why? Because long before that moment, Epictetus had already discovered a terrifying truth. The cruelty of another person does not define your worth. It exposes theirs. A cruel person is confessing their weakness. An envious person is confessing their insecurity. A manipulative person is confessing their emptiness. A disrespectful person is revealing the poverty of their character. And yet every day, people absorb these confessions as if they were verdicts. Someone insults them, and suddenly they question themselves. Someone dismisses them, and suddenly they doubt their value. Someone mocks them, and suddenly they carry the wound for weeks. But the Stoics understood something different. Every insult contains information. Not information about you, information about the person delivering it. And the moment you truly understand that, the entire game changes. Imagine this. You spend weeks preparing an important presentation. You walk into a meeting room confident and prepared. The moment you begin speaking, someone interrupts with a sarcastic remark. The room becomes quiet. Everyone looks at you. Most people immediately feel attacked, embarrassed, threatened, humiliated. But a Stoic mind sees something completely different. The interruption is not evidence of your weakness. It is evidence of their insecurity, because secure people do not need to diminish others. Confident people do not need to dominate conversations. Strong people do not need to manufacture superiority. Only fragile egos require those behaviors. And once you begin seeing disrespect as psychological evidence instead of personal judgment, you become incredibly difficult to manipulate. Because the attack never reaches its intended target. It never enters your mind. It never gains access to your peace. And that realization leads directly into the next lesson, a lesson even more dangerous. Because once you understand it, you will stop giving people exactly what they want. Before we move to lesson 2, take a moment. If this lesson has already changed the way you see disrespect, make sure to subscribe to Silent Authority, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the next lesson will reveal why your reaction is often the reward people are secretly looking for. You spend 3 weeks preparing a presentation, days of research, late nights refining every detail. You walk into the boardroom prepared, focused, and confident. 90 seconds after you begin speaking, it happens. A colleague, the same person who smiles at you every morning in the hallway, suddenly interrupts. They dismiss your data, mock your conclusions, throw in a sarcastic joke at your expense. The room laughs. Your face heats up. Your chest tightens. Your nervous system instantly demands a response. Defend yourself, attack back, prove them wrong. But what you don't see in that moment is the invisible reality behind their behavior. You don't see the apartment they returned to 2 nights ago, the relationship that ended months earlier, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the quiet feeling that their life is slipping through their fingers. And then they walk into a room and see you, prepared, confident, focused, competent. You become a mirror, and mirrors are dangerous to people who are running from themselves, because your confidence forces them to confront their insecurity. Your discipline exposes their laziness, your composure highlights their chaos, and rather than face their own reflection, they attack the mirror. Understand this carefully. Their disrespect was never a calculated evaluation of your worth. It was an emotional reaction to their own pain. A drowning person will often grab the nearest body, not because they hate you, because they are desperate to stay afloat. This does not excuse toxic behavior. It explains it. An explanation creates freedom, because the moment you stop personalizing every attack, you stop carrying wounds that were never yours to begin with. You begin seeing human behavior with surgical clarity. You realize something most people never understand. Their disrespect is their confession, not your sentence. Their cruelty is evidence, not authority. Their judgment is information, not truth. And once that realization settles into your mind, something remarkable happens. The insult loses its poison before it reaches you. The attack arrives, but finds nothing to attach itself to. You remain calm, not because you're suppressing emotions, not because you're pretending not to care, but because you genuinely understand what is happening. This is not about me. That single realization becomes the first wall of your inner fortress. Build that wall carefully, protect it relentlessly, because everything that follows depends on it. Lesson 2. The radical power of zero expectations. There is a form of suffering more dangerous than pain itself. A form of suffering that silently destroys millions of people every day. And most never realize it. The suffering is not being hurt. The suffering is being shocked by being hurt. Because surprise amplifies pain. And until you eliminate that surprise, you remain vulnerable. Epictetus built his entire philosophy around one devastating truth. Most human suffering comes from demanding reality behave differently than reality actually behaves. People call this the dichotomy of control, but very few truly understand what it requires. It does not require positivity, it does not require blind trust, and it certainly does not require wishful thinking. It requires something far more uncomfortable. It requires complete freedom from illusion. Let's travel to ancient Greece. There lived a philosopher named Diogenes. Most people thought he was insane. He owned almost nothing. He slept in a giant ceramic container in the marketplace. He rejected luxury, mocked status, ignored social approval completely. People laughed at him, ridiculed him, called him a dog. And yet one day something extraordinary happened. Alexander the Great, the most powerful military commander on earth, traveled specifically to meet him. Imagine that. An emperor standing before a homeless philosopher. Alexander looked at him and said, "Ask me for anything you desire, and I will give it to you." Most men would have asked for wealth, power, land, influence. Diogenes looked up calmly and replied, "Yes, move slightly. You're blocking my sunlight." That's it. No fear, no admiration, no need for approval, no psychological dependence. When Alexander walked away, he reportedly said, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." Why? Because Diogenes possessed something that armies could not conquer: freedom, complete freedom from needing anything from other people. And this is where most people lose their peace. Every time you enter a room expecting respect, you unknowingly hand everyone in that room a weapon. Every expectation creates vulnerability. Because the moment reality fails to meet your expectation, pain enters through the gap. You expected fairness, you received betrayal, you expected gratitude, you received selfishness, you expected loyalty, you received abandonment, and suddenly the pain becomes twice as powerful. Not because of what happened, but because reality violated the story you created beforehand. This is why expectations are so dangerous. They turn ordinary human flaws into personal tragedies. The Stoics never expected people to be perfect. They expected people to be human. And humans are often selfish, emotional, jealous, insecure, impulsive, and sometimes cruel. When you truly understand this, you stop being shocked. And when shock disappears, half the suffering disappears with it. Now pay close attention. The Stoic solution is not lowering your standards. That is weakness. The Stoic solution is removing your emotional dependence on whether others meet those standards. Those are completely different things. You can demand respect. You can establish boundaries. You can remove toxic people from your life. You can refuse to tolerate destructive behavior. But your peace must never depend on whether they choose to behave correctly. Because the moment your peace depends on another person's behavior, they own a piece of your mind. And that is a price no wise person should ever pay. Imagine you're sitting at a family gathering, the same relatives, the same conversations, the same people you've known your entire life. You say something simple. Maybe you share an achievement. Maybe you express an opinion. Maybe you're finally proud of something you've built. And then it happens. That one relative, the one who's been doing this since you were a child, they smirk, make a joke, dismiss your accomplishment, compare you to someone else, reduce your success to nothing in a single sentence, and suddenly the familiar pain returns. Not because it's new, because it isn't. You've experienced this hundreds of times before, yet somehow it still hurts. Why? Because every single time you walked into that room carrying the same invisible hope. Maybe this time they'll understand. Maybe this time they'll respect me. Maybe this time they'll finally be proud. But here's the truth most people never realize. The hope is not healing you. The hope is hurting you. The hope itself is the wound, because every expectation creates a target. and every unmet expectation creates suffering. The Stoic enters that room differently, not with bitterness, not with resentment, not with anger, with clarity. Cold, calm clarity. They have already accepted every possible outcome before they arrive. They have already accepted criticism, dismissal, mockery, and disappointment. Because once you accept the possibility of something happening, it loses the power to shock you when it does. This isn't pessimism. This is preparation, the highest form of psychological preparation. The Spartan warriors understood this long before modern psychology existed. Before battle, they didn't sit around imagining victory. They prepared themselves for wounds, for setbacks, for loss, even for death. Not because they wanted those outcomes, but because they refused to be surprised by them. The battle could only break a man who still expected reality to obey his wishes. And that is exactly how emotional resilience is built. You stop demanding reality follow your script. You prepare yourself for reality as it is. You are in a high-stakes business negotiation. The other side arrives with a plan before a single word is spoken. They show up late. They make a subtle remark about your company. They question your authority to even be sitting at the table. Every instinct inside you screams, defend yourself, prove your value, explain who you are. But the Stoic warrior does something completely different. They slow down. They breathe. They allow the attack to reveal itself. Instead of reacting, they observe. Interesting. They are trying to destabilize me before the real conversation begins. That tells me something important. They are more concerned about controlling the outcome than appearing confident. And the moment you see that, the balance of power begins to shift. Because now you are no longer trapped inside the attack. You are studying it, you are reading it, you are using it. The person across from you expected emotional turbulence. Instead, they found still water. They expected resistance. Instead, they found observation. They expected panic. Instead, they found precision. And precision is terrifying to people who rely on chaos. This is why the greatest performers in history were not the most emotional people. They were the people who could maintain clarity while everyone else was losing control. When pressure rises, average people react. Exceptional people observe. Average people defend themselves. Exceptional people collect information. Average people become emotional. Exceptional people become strategic. Train yourself to create space between what happens and how you respond. Because inside that space lives your power. Inside that space lives your freedom. Inside that space lives the version of you that cannot be manipulated. Everyday life will give you opportunities to practice. A disrespectful comment, a passive-aggressive message, a sarcastic remark disguised as a joke. Most people respond immediately. You will not. You will pause. You will breathe. You will observe. And then you will choose. Because every time you choose your response instead of surrendering it, you become more dangerous, more disciplined, more sovereign, more free. That is lesson 7. Master the space between stimulus and response. And no human being will ever be able to control your emotional state again. Lesson 8. The devastating power of strategic withdrawal. Most people think strength means confrontation. They think every act of disrespect requires a response. Every insult requires a comeback. Every slight requires a battle. The Stoics understood something deeper. Sometimes the most powerful response is not engagement. It is withdrawal. In the ancient world, one of the harshest punishments was not physical suffering. It was exclusion. Not being beaten, not being imprisoned, being removed from significance, being denied access, being treated as irrelevant. Human beings crave attention more than they admit. They crave access. They crave influence. They crave emotional reactions. And the moment you stop supplying those things, many people lose their power instantly. Think about the people who repeatedly disrespect others. What are they truly seeking? Validation, control, attention, significance. They provoke because they want access to your mind. They insult because they want access to your emotions. They create drama because they want access to your energy. And every time you react, you pay them exactly what they came to collect. The Stoic understands that attention is currency, time is currency, emotional energy is currency, presence is currency, And wise people do not spend valuable currency on people who repeatedly disrespect them. This does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean becoming bitter. It does not mean seeking revenge. It means becoming selective. There is someone in your life right now who follows a pattern. Every success you share is minimized. Every vulnerability you reveal is remembered and later weaponized. Every dream you discuss is met with skepticism. Every victory is followed by criticism. You have probably explained away their behavior dozens of times. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe that's just how they are. But patterns matter. Character reveals itself through repetition, and eventually wisdom requires acceptance. The Stoic response is not a dramatic confrontation. It is a quiet recalibration. Less access, less personal information, less emotional investment, less availability, no speeches, no announcements, no grand declarations, just a gradual withdrawal of resources from a place that consistently produces poor returns. Your energy belongs where it is respected. Your trust belongs where it is honored. Your presence belongs where it is valued. This is not punishment, this is stewardship. A wise person does not continue watering dead soil while healthy gardens wait to grow. And something remarkable happens when you stop feeding people who survive on your reactions. They notice. The provocations increase. The comments become sharper. The attempts become more obvious. Why? Because the supply they depended on is disappearing. Stay calm. Stay quiet. Stay disciplined. Do not explain the withdrawal. Do not justify it. Do not negotiate it. Simply continue moving your energy toward people, projects, and purposes that deserve it. Because the strongest boundary is not spoken, it is lived. And eventually the people who repeatedly disrespected you will discover something they never expected. The door is still there, but their key no longer works. That is lesson 8. Not every battle deserves your sword. Some battles deserve your absence. This is the lesson most people will never reach. Not because it is complicated, because it demands something far more difficult. It demands that you become bigger than the people who hurt you. This is the summit of Stoicism, and very few ever climb this high. Marcus Aurelius returned again and again to one idea so radical that even today most people misunderstand it. He wrote, "It is peculiar to man to love even those who do wrong." Think about that. Marcus Aurelius was betrayed by politicians, manipulated by rivals, lied to by people he trusted, surrounded by ambition, deception, and betrayal for decades. Yet he still spoke about love, not because he was weak, not because he wanted to appear virtuous, not because he believed everyone deserved another chance. He spoke about it because he understood something devastatingly powerful. Hatred is a prison disguised as a weapon. Most people think hatred hurts the other person. It doesn't. Hatred lives inside the person carrying it. The moment you begin hating someone who disrespected you, betrayed you, or humiliated you, they move into your mind rent-free. You replay conversations. You rehearse revenge. You imagine confrontations. You build entire fantasies around proving them wrong. Meanwhile, they continue living their life, sleeping peacefully, eating dinner, laughing with friends, completely unaware of the war still raging inside your head. And that is the tragedy, because every minute spent maintaining hatred is a minute stolen from your own future. Imagine someone betrayed you deeply, not a stranger, someone you loved, someone you trusted, someone who changed the way you looked at people forever. The wound was real, the damage was real. The rebuilding took years. The idea of offering anything resembling forgiveness feels impossible. Marcus Aurelius would not ask you to excuse them. He would not ask you to trust them. He would not ask you to welcome them back into your life. He would ask something far more important. Can you stop carrying them? Can you stop giving them space inside your mind? Can you stop sacrificing your future to preserve your resentment? Because the truth is this: the moment you release hatred, you do not set them free. You set yourself free. You reclaim energy. You reclaim focus. You reclaim peace. You reclaim years of your life. And suddenly the wound that once defined you becomes nothing more than a chapter. Not your identity, not your future, just a chapter. The Stoic does not forgive because the offender deserves it. The Stoic forgives because freedom deserves it. You see people clearly. You understand their character. You recognize their limitations. And then you walk away without carrying their darkness with you. That is true power, not revenge, not victory, liberation. That is lesson 9. The strongest person in the room is not the one who hates the most. It is the one who no longer needs to hate at all. Everything we have discussed up to this point has been defensive. Protect your peace, guard your energy, control your reactions, master your emotions. All necessary, all important. But now we arrive at the final lesson, the lesson that makes every other lesson unnecessary. Because the ultimate answer to disrespect is not better defense. It is a bigger purpose. In 167 AD, Marcus Aurelius was fighting wars on the edge of the Roman Empire. A plague was spreading. Thousands were dying. Political corruption surrounded him. Rebellions threatened stability. Personal grief followed him everywhere. And during all of this chaos, he wrote something extraordinary. Confine yourself to the present. Just 4 words. Yet they contain an entire philosophy of power. Because people who are consumed by purpose do not have time to be consumed by insults. People with a mission are too busy building, too busy creating, too busy growing, too busy becoming, to spend their lives reacting. Think about every great builder in history, every creator, every leader, every visionary, every warrior. They all had critics. Some were mocked, some were hated, some were betrayed, some were destroyed. But the criticism never became bigger than the mission, because purpose occupied all available space, and purpose creates gravity. It pulls you forward. Even when people try to drag you backward. Picture yourself 5 years from now. You have mastered everything from these lessons. You understand the psychology of disrespect. You no longer react impulsively. You protect your energy. You guard your peace. You have released resentment. You have built self-respect from the inside. Now imagine walking into a room. Someone throws an insult. Someone questions your value. Someone attempts to diminish you. You hear it, you understand it. And then you continue walking. Not because you are numb, not because you are pretending, because your life has become too large for their opinion to matter. A mountain does not argue with the wind. The wind arrives, the wind leaves, the mountain remains. Become the mountain. Let others waste their lives chasing approval. Let others spend their days fighting battles that lead nowhere. You have deeper work to do. You have an empire to build. You have a purpose to fulfill. You have a future demanding your attention. And when purpose becomes your obsession, disrespect becomes background noise. That is the final lesson. Build something so meaningful that criticism becomes irrelevant. Build something so large, yet that small people cannot even comprehend it. Build something so powerful that the people who once tried to stop you become invisible in your rearview mirror. Because sovereignty is not controlling others. Sovereignty is becoming impossible to control. And that is the Stoic life. You stayed. Most people never reach this point. Most people hear ideas like discipline, sovereignty, emotional control, and purpose. And they nod their heads, they agree, they feel inspired. Then they close the video and return to the exact same life, the exact same reactions, the exact same weaknesses, the exact same emotional prison. But you are still here, and that means you are standing at a crossroads, because information alone changes nothing. Knowing is easy, transformation is difficult. The modern world is filled with people who know exactly what they should do. They know they should wake up earlier. They know they should stop chasing validation. They know they should stop caring about opinions. They know they should build discipline. They know they should focus on purpose, yet they do none of it. Why? Because knowledge does not create power. Execution creates power, and execution begins where comfort ends. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius did not become Marcus Aurelius because he read philosophy. He became Marcus Aurelius because he practiced philosophy. Every day, every setback, every insult, every betrayal, every disappointment, every loss. He treated life itself as training. Most people see difficulties as interruptions. The Stoic sees difficulties as instruction. Most people see obstacles as punishment. The Stoic sees obstacles as preparation. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? The Stoic asks, what is this trying to teach me? And that single question changes everything. Because the moment life stops being your enemy, it becomes your teacher. The rejection becomes training. The criticism becomes training. The loneliness becomes training. The uncertainty becomes training. The failure becomes training. The betrayal becomes training. Everything becomes training. And suddenly, there are no wasted experiences, only lessons, only preparation, only growth. This is why powerful people seem calm in situations that destroy everyone else. They are not experiencing a different reality. They are interpreting reality differently. Where ordinary people see suffering, they see development. Where ordinary people see obstacles, they see opportunities. Where ordinary people see endings, they see beginnings. That is the hidden advantage. That is the invisible edge. That is what separates the sovereign from the victim. Because victims ask life to become easier. Sovereign individuals become stronger. Victims demand perfect circumstances. Sovereign individuals build perfect discipline. Victims wait for motivation. Sovereign individuals create momentum. And eventually the gap becomes enormous. 5 years later, one person is still explaining why life is unfair. The other person has built an empire. Not because they were luckier, not because they were smarter, because they used pain differently, because they converted adversity into fuel, because they refused to waste suffering. Remember this, every painful experience gives you two options. You can become bitter, or you can become stronger. You can become resentful, or you can become wiser. You can become a victim, or you can become a builder. The choice is always yours, and every day you make that choice again. Every morning, every setback, every challenge, every insult, every disappointment, you choose, not once, daily, because character is not built in a single heroic moment. Character is built through thousands of invisible decisions, tiny decisions, repeated consistently, over years. That is how iron is forged. That is how empires are built. That is how legends are created, not through talent, not through luck, not through motivation, through relentless consistency. And if you truly understand that, then you already possess something most people will never find. The realization that your future is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for action. Your peace is not waiting for approval. It is waiting for discipline. Your freedom is not waiting for opportunity. It is waiting for courage. And your greatness is not waiting for someday. It is waiting for today, right now, this moment. Because the present moment is the only battlefield that exists. The past is gone. The future is imagined. But today is real. Today is where sovereign people are made. Today is where weak habits die. Today is where strong habits begin. Today is where excuses end. Today is where your empire starts. And years from now, when everyone wonders how you became so calm, so focused, so disciplined, so untouchable, they will think it happened suddenly. They will think you changed overnight. But you will know the truth. You changed one decision at a time, one habit at a time, one lesson at a time, one day at a time, until eventually you became someone the world could no longer control. And that is the ultimate victory. Before you leave, I want you to answer one question. When was the last time someone disrespected you? And instead of reacting, you simply remained calm? Write, "I remain sovereign" in the comments. Not for me, for yourself. Because every time you write it, you remind your mind who is truly in control. If this video gave you even one insight that changed the way you see people, hit subscribe and join this journey. Here, we don't chase approval. We don't beg for respect. We build ourselves into people who no longer need either. Stay disciplined, stay dangerous, stay sovereign, and I'll see you in the next lesson.